All right. Hello. Welcome back to another Market Open. It is officially April 3rd. We are in the month of April. I know my hair is crazy. You don't have to tell me. I'm getting a haircut. Wow, look at that thing. It's like a house on top of my head. I'm literally getting a haircut after this what do you call it? This morning open stream. It is a bit wild though. It is it is a bit wild. What's up, everybody? Thank you all for being here. I appreciate you here. Simon, Jason, Martin, Carlos, Pete, Nyan, Grom Plays, Cameron, Martin Pilda. Hey, mate, thanks for doing this, having afternoon power nap with your market open. I love it. Philip, thank you all for being here. We are back with another market open. Oh, man. So we are in April. It is officially April. It is April 3rd, 9:21 a.m. I had a good weekend. Hope you guys had a good weekend. Had a very tiring weekend. Got a lot of work to get done today and finish up. But nonetheless, was a decent weekend. I hope everyone else had a good weekend. And we've got things to talk about. We've got a lot of stuff that broke over the weekend, different news, different things coming from different directions. And it's time to talk about it. Did you watch Finance Junkies? They started the show talking about Palantir. I did not. I couldn't. Honestly, I couldn't make it last night. That's why I wasn't going to be able to go. Is the morning cowbell thing ever happening? Okay, the morning cowbell thing is happening. So let me give you guys a little bit of personal news before we get started. So for those that don't know, I think I talked about it early on the channel. I'm getting a root canal on the left side of my teeth, like in 10 days. And I literally slept last night. You want to know what time it is? I slept at 8 p.m. last night. 8 p.m. Why? Because I want to start my week off right. I was going to wake up at 4 a.m., get a nice, good 8 hours of sleep, get things going, do everything I needed to do. I slept at 8 p.m. I woke up at 12 a.m. Excruciating pain. Like when I mean excruciating pain, I'm like literally like I can't talk. I somehow go back to sleep, wake up at 1 a.m. Excruciating pain. I take some Tylenol, go back to bed, wake up at 2:30 a.m. Excruciating pain. And I'm just like, what is going on? And then finally I remembered, it's not near me right now, but I have that gel, that gel that you rub on your teeth and it helps with the pain. And then I finally put that gel on and I went back to bed, woke up at 6 a.m., still had the pain, put the gel on again, and then I just went back to sleep. So that was primarily the reason I wasn't able to even talk in the morning, is just because it was bad. April 12th is my root canal. It was bad, bro. This is the first night in like a while that I had the teeth were just hurting. Like usually, I've had some teeth problems, but they never hurt as bad as it does. Opening a Weeble right now, but it was bad. The solution is gel. Yeah, I realized that at like 4 a.m. And so that's why I couldn't do the morning cowbell, because it's like I woke up 3 times in the middle of the night after sleeping at 8 a.m. to have a good morning open and everything. And I just I tried to wake up and I'm just like in so much pain. But April 12th, that thing that will start to get done with the pain of my teeth, hopefully. But yeah, it was a little bad. So the weekend was good, and then Sunday night I wanted to wake up Monday and get everything under control. And like it was like, I usually don't complain about pain. This was bad. Like this was really, really bad, and I was just like, fuck, this hurts. But that's why we're getting the root canal, gloves and garlic. Yeah, bunch of different things. I mean, I know the feeling sucks big time. Yeah, it was bad. It hurt. It hurt a lot. But all right, let's get back into the market. We'll keep talking. We got a lot of news. We got SoFi news to talk about, Palantir news to talk about. So let's just take a little look on what we have pre-market. Enphase 214 pre-market. We've got Microsoft down just a little bit pre-market. Look at Microsoft inching near 290 at 285. SL Green, this is Chris's play, up 5.4% at 2480 pre-market. Meta at 209 pre-market. S&P 408 pre-market. This is turning into a little bit of a bull market, and it's really confusing because we've got McDonald's and UBS apparently going to announce a lot of layoffs this week. At least that's what the rumors are pointing to. And we've got a OPEC kind of oil cut, which is also very interesting because it begs the question of what exactly is going on for them to cut oil. Is it just geopolitical? Is it based on demand? There's a lot of stuff to dive into. Let's quickly go over the Palantir news that broke over the weekend. It wasn't crazy, but it was a $60 million contract, which is, pretty good for Palantir. Let me pull up the exact screenshot. This is on the daily Palantir Twitter account. So if you want to keep up with Palantir news, you can follow that account. So here we go. Breaking on a Saturday. This was Saturday morning. Here we go. Breaking on a Saturday, Palantir won a $60 million modification to their contract around AI, ML research and development work with the Army. This comes after an initial $42.5 million was awarded for them for this contract. So as you can see here, Palantir was awarded a $60 million modification to contract for research and development services, the AI machine learning. Remember, AI exponentially growing. There's going to need to be R&D in order to create meaningful AI and machine learning. And Palantir is one of those companies that is going to benefit from that. So they're supposed to complete this by September 2023. And this is all going to be research, test, and evaluation. 60 million just for research and development, which is, this is not even deployment of the software. This is literally just research and development work. So super, super great stuff for Palantir. Another $60 million contract is very good. David, we have Palantir Weekly right after SoFi. So remember, Palantir Weekly has always been 11 p.m. Eastern. It's always been. So if you go to my channel, you click on live, since like February 2022, it's always been 11 p.m. Eastern. We do SoFi Weekly at 10 p.m. Eastern, but 11 p.m. Eastern is always Palantir Weekly. So please, if you go to the channel, you'll find it there. We did it this weekend as well. We had a 2-hour episode. We spoke for a long time. Ibuprofen helps, but please eat well, not to destroy your stomach. Yes, that's also important. Go to the dentist. I went to the dentist already. They already diagnosed me. I'm getting my root canal April 12th. It's just last night was just like insane. Like I have never experienced tooth pain the way I experienced last night. I didn't even tell my parents about it. I didn't want to tell anybody about it. I just wanted it to like go away. And I woke up at 3 a.m. fully ready to wake up because I slept at 8 p.m. I was like, I got 5-6 hours of sleep. I'm ready to go. But then my teeth are just like fucking like destroying me. And so that was pretty bad. Okay, so that was Palantir. I thought this contract was an extra 80 million on the initial 42. I don't believe so. I think this was an extra 60 million. I might be wrong on that, Adam, but from the people I talked to about this, because I talked to a bunch of people over the weekend about this, I'm pretty sure it was 60, but I could be wrong. If not, another 18 million to do research is, still not bad, right? At the end of the day. So it's good. Okay. I thought what was it? How much? Okay. So let's talk about the SoFi news as well. So SoFi, here we go, has also acquired a fintech mortgage lending company. We talked about this on SoFi Weekly. I'll make a clip of that probably in a little bit and post it on the channel. But this is pretty big news for SoFi. So SoFi Technologies acquires leading fintech mortgage lender Wyndham Capital Mortgage. Now, they did not say how much they paid for the deal. We will probably know in Q1 as we look at their balance sheet. But SoFi has acquired Wyndham Capital Mortgage, and a leading fintech mortgage lender in all cash transactions, so no shares. While the transaction is not expected to be material to the company's 2023 financial outlook, it is expected to be accretive within 6 months. The acquisition includes the integration of both talent and technology from Wyndham Capital, will allow SoFi to broaden its suite of mortgage product to available to members, enhance unit economics, and take ownership of an intelligent and scalable platform. The goal of this really was that some of their mortgage businesses in personal loans and just other areas of just personal loans were not as strong as probably we thought they were, and probably were they needed something to boost up the growth, and they needed something to boost up the diversification of how they were giving loans. Anthony Noto says several macro and socioeconomic factors, high inflation and rising mortgage rates, the new world of the new world of work, and others have ushered in a new era across U.S. real estate. These changing conditions mean it's more important than ever that borrowers have a trusted partner that they can look to as they go through the process of obtaining a mortgage for a home. Today's acquisition of Wyndham Capital will not only allow us to scale and keep pace with accelerated growth, so there's the growth thing right there, will also allow us to foster that growth in a way that brings value to our members through sales and operational efficiencies and helps members get their money right when it comes to one of life's most significant financial milestones, which is a home. Wyndham Capital has helped more than 100,000 borrowers with a 98% satisfaction rating. I think this is a good acquisition, but it comes down to how much did they pay for that? Did they pay 5 times price to sales? Did they pay, 10 times price to sales? SoFi is known for paying a little bit more when it comes to the acquisitions if we just look to Galileo and Technisys. So ultimately, we're going to see the stock is up well pre-market. It's up at 615 right now, up 1% pre-market. So the market likes the acquisition. The question is just how much did they pay? All right, 9:30 a.m., April 3rd, 2023. Thank you all for being here. I hope you guys had a great weekend. Let's get ready to kill the first week of April, and let's do it by opening the market. Wake your ass up. The stock market is open. SoFi Technology 618 opens up 1.8% higher. Not bad at all. Nikola 1.2 up 2.48% after doing a $100 million share offering. SLG Green, this is a real estate REIT that gives a 16% dividend, up now it's 13% dividend, but up 5.65%. Enphase, look at that bad boy, 214. Meta at 209, S&P at 408, Nvidia 274, Amazon 101, Arc Innovation 39, Bitcoin 28,202. So Bitcoin not going above 29,000 or 30,000, kind of staying flat there. NASDAQ crushing 12,144. Coinbase at 66. Snowflake, wow, Snowflake was 136. I think I checked on Thursday. So as you can see, the market has run. I mean, the market has not been a crazy run, but it's been a decent run. The market has run. Netflix also was at 290 just 3 weeks ago. Now it's at 340. It's this age-old question of like, so do we buy now because the market's starting to go up? How do we interpret a lot of this stuff? If inflation's coming down and the CPI is even better than it was last month, personal consumer expenditures was 1.3%. We expected 1.5%. That came down. Jobless claims were up, and even though it's up a significant amount of 7,000 jobs, it was still up, which is good for the Fed in terms of their ability to get inflation to come down. Like all the positive factors that needed to happen. We got a 25 basis points rise instead of a 50. Everything that needed to happen for us to get a little bit of a green rally has happened. C3 AI blowing past $30 as well. It's just a question of, is this sustainable? And is there any catalyst that we are not taking into account that could deck this market? Tesla deliveries also were pretty amazing. They beat slightly, but they beat, and that's all that matters. They are growing 36% year over year in delivering cars. And look, it's not easy to deliver 430 something thousand cars, whatever they did. Like, it's not easy. I know Model S and Model X was declined just a little bit from last year, but it seems insignificant given the overall level of deliveries they are doing. Tesla not up today because the market probably wanted a little bit more, down 3%, but it's also, it's not bad what they were able to do. And if they can keep those numbers in track, they're going to keep growing at 30-40% year over year. So I think Tesla deliveries were, like Tesla, again, if Tesla deliveries suck, that could signal less demand in the consumer markets from a macro perspective, but everything seems to be going, there are things that are doing well. The only question, I guess, let's go to FRC, is are the banks insolvent? Because I read a bunch of articles this weekend saying the banks are insolvent, and maybe that's the canary in the coal mine that we can't figure out as it comes up. Chris Patel, that effing bell. Thank you, Chris, for being here. Look at SLG. Yeah, man, we saw SLG is up. SLG is up, 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 up. Kramer was talking about SLG this morning. Wow, I had a root canal done for Mexico when for $350 Mexico. See, I don't trust root canals for $350, bro. That's tough. Amit, where were you last night? I was finishing work and I was going to sleep. That's what I was doing. Finance Junkies will be back on my channel all Monday through Thursday, 10 p.m. So make sure everyone is here for Finance Junkies. But last night I had a lot of work to finish up because I had gone to New York over the weekend on some other work. So I just could not do it last night. But I slept early. And then I woke up with like this ridiculous pain in my teeth. And so it was not the best night, but we're getting back to doing what we need to do. So yeah, as I said, like I would like to know in the comments, is there any missing catalyst that we aren't thinking of that could lead to just some ridiculous level of downfall in the economy? Because as I'm looking at all the macro factors and like individual stocks that are performing the way they need to perform, it just doesn't seem like that's the case. This is Webull for those that don't know. I personally use Robinhood, but this is Webull for those that have asked what it is. Palantir at 8.49. Again, nice little modification to their contract. 50 cents away from $9. Let's see how they're, if they are going to be able to do it. But as of now, they're stuck teetering around this, 790 to kind of 850-ish range that Palantir has been stuck in. Let's go to Google. Where has Google been? Google is up at 103. So Google blowing past 100 as well. SoFi, look at that bad boy. 622, up 2.4% now. And Enphase doing phenomenally well as well. Enphase now at 215. And so this is the question, right? Should you sell and take a little bit of profits, or should you just buy some more of this dip and let it ride? Look at the S&P at 409. I don't believe in selling just to take a little bit of profits, right? Obviously, it's you want to play the long-term game in a lot of these stocks, but it is very interesting because we had this run, by the way, I think last week. We had this run. No, we had this run 2 weeks ago when we went up to 25 basis points. I know this because Enphase was literally at 215, right? So we had this run. S&P didn't get to 409, but then everything came crashing right back down. Enphase got to like 192, right? So we had that, and then we're right back there again. I guess it's a question of, have things changed, and is the momentum going to be on our side when Jay Powell decides to pause rates? The question is if Tesla will hold the 200. Yes, that is also true. SMCI is running as well. Let's go to SMCI. SMCI. Yeah, up 2.2%. Yeah, SMCI came down a little bit. Yeah, it was at 106. Came down just a little bit last week. Now it's running up as well. You said Datadog. Why is Datadog's market cap bigger than Palantir? The number one reason I think Datadog has a much bigger market cap, and it's not that much. It's 22 billion. Palantir is at 14 billion. Is because Datadog is a name that's respected in the industry when it comes to like data analytics, cloud services, all that stuff, right? Datadog doesn't have that kind of sales-y problem that Palantir has. But if you're investing in Palantir, you're investing for the tech, not for really anything else. And you hope the rest can be figured out. And, that's what we got to see. We got to hope the rest can be figured out. But Datadog, Snowflake, Databricks, they're all names that just don't have the political controversies associated with them that Palantir has, which could be an opportunity or could be a problem, right? And that's kind of the overarching risk you're taking when you're investing in Palantir. Okay, so we had some OPEC output cuts. Let's take a look. This is happening. We'll probably talk about it a little bit more on Finance Junkies today and why it overall matters for the market. So let's take a look at this.
Talk strategy ahead of the first trading.
Oh, wait, let me adjust the sound setting so you guys can hear this. Sound, okay, speakers. Oh, it's up. Okay.
Day of the quarter is Stephanie Link. She is Hightower Chief Investment Strategist, also a CNBC contributor. And Steph, first of all, good morning. What do you make of this OPEC news and what it's doing not only to WTI, but also oil and energy stocks this morning?
Yeah, I mean, it was a big surprise over the weekend. So I would say that it's obviously a positive for the energy sector, the complex itself, especially for free cash flow. These companies, even before the news today, still generating a ton of free cash flow. So to the extent the price goes higher, that's even better for them and shareholder returns, because we know what they're doing with all that free cash flow. They're not doing it in production; they're doing it in share buybacks and dividends. And then on the other hand, it's kind of negative for the consumer if oil prices go higher. The Fed probably is going to continue to go anyway. I looked at the core PCE numbers last week. In the last 3 months, it's running at about 4.6%. So no matter what oil does, they're looking at other parts of inflation, and it stays pretty sticky. So I think this news isn't great in that they'll probably continue to be very hawkish. And of course, the biggest question is the SPR. It's at record lows. And what do they do? They're going to have to do something. And that's also going to put a floor on energy prices.
So do you buy, well, first of all, do you own any of these oil stocks already? And would you buy some based on this news?
Yes, I do. I am overweight. The benchmark is about, in the S&P 500, it's about a 5% weight in the S&P. I'm at about an 8% overweight in my portfolio. I do own a barbell, Chevron, high quality dividend diversified company. I own Schlumberger, a wonderful technology company hidden inside the firm. And then I also own Diamondback Energy. I would add to all three of them because they are all down anywhere from 9 to 12% year to date. And they trade at like.
So she's going long oil, and also Chris just bought some Oxy Leaps. Chris, can you put your reasoning in the chat? Why exactly you're buying your Oxy Leaps? People saying this oil prod is good for Enphase and Tesla. Interesting.
9-10 times earnings, so they're very attractive, and I think this news today obviously is very much of a positive for them.
Okay, let's talk the other big theme that we saw through the first quarter, and that was technology doing so well relative to the financials.
Okay, so let's actually go to an article as well to talk more about this. So this is obviously very important. This was news that broke just last night, and I don't think a lot of people expected this when this was happening. Oil prices surge after OPEC producers announced surprise cuts. Brent crude jumped 5% to 84.13 a barrel, while WTI, the U.S. benchmark, also rose 5.8% to 79. Warren Buffett has been buying so much Oxy. I mean, it's been insane, the amount of Oxy. He owns, like, I think 26% of the company at this point. Occidental up 5.8% today, this morning. Oil prices sunk as low as 73.67 a barrel in the week of the collapse of the Silicon Valley Bank, and now they are rising up. The development comes as a blow for inflation. Markets are aware that if the pressure continues, central banks will need to extend or strengthen their interest rate cycles or their interest rate hiking cycles. On Sunday, Saudi Arabia said it would do a voluntary reduction in production of crude oil alongside other members of OPEC. The cuts will start in May and last through the end of the year. The reductions are on top of those announced by the OPEC cuts in October. That month, oil producers agreed to slash output by 2 million barrels a day, the largest cut since the start of the pandemic and equivalent to about 2% of global oil demand. Saudi Arabia now says it will cut more than another 500,000 barrels today. And some of the other big guys are cutting barrels as well. Goldman analysts said that OPEC move was unexpected but consistent with the new OPEC doctrine to act preemptively because they can without significant losses in market share. The collective output cut by the 9 members totals 1.6 million barrels a day. They increased their price forecast for Brent this December to $95 a barrel. White House says, we don't think the cuts are advisable at this moment given market uncertainty, and we've made that clear. We're focused on American prices for consumers at home, not barrels. It's interesting because I've seen prices come down quite significantly, at least around New Jersey, and as a result of that, that's been good for me. We're going to see how these overall macro cuts affected. Chris says Oxy is a PE of 5, cash flow up the wazoo. Buffett is pushing for a lot more share buybacks. Yeah, if Oxy did some share buybacks along with how they're trading, plus with this news that we're getting, this would be interesting. Let me pull up Webull real quick. Take a look at some of these other oil stocks. So we've got Tesla down, but we've got oil up, and we've got Enphase up. It's a little interesting. So as you can see, Oxy right there, $66, up a nice 6.23%. And oil stocks don't really go up 6-7. Like tech will swing 6 to 10% in a day. Oil doesn't really do that. It's pretty stable, the way oil works, or at least the way I've seen price action on oil stocks. But there has to be usually some major catalyst to bump it up even 6-7%. And obviously yesterday was a very big catalyst, which bumped it up. Let's go back to Tesla, see how Tesla's doing. Tesla at 200. So Tesla relatively flat, 3.4% down. Nothing too crazy on that end. So we've got a mixed red and green market. We've got Airbnb, Taiwan, Airbnb, Trade Desk, PubMatic, and Roblox all down. Then you got Taiwan semis up. So you've got a bunch of stocks that are up, a bunch of stocks that are down, kind of wishy-washy. Nvidia at 277. So Nvidia puts still have not printed. They're stuck at 277. FRC kind of stuck at 14. That's where it was as we ended on Friday, 13.14. And we've got some stocks like Enphase that are up and SLG that are up. So kind of green, kind of red market. Nothing super crazy, nothing super not crazy. They're generating about 12 billion free cash flow trailing 12 months. Wow. That's not bad. Maybe we need to do a deep dive on Oxy, Chris, or we could talk about why you bought your leaps today on Finance Junkies, so we can go a little bit more deeper on why you made that purchase. Let's go to looking a little bit more at Tesla deliveries and get some coverage on that. So let's click on that one right here.
Watching shares of Tesla this morning. The company reported quarterly delivery numbers just yesterday, and Phil LeBeau joins us with a breakdown. The stock down marginally this morning on them. Phil?
Yeah, I don't think there's a lot of movement here, Andrew, because the estimates, for the most part, they were all over the place, as they usually are every quarter. Some were saying, hey, Tesla told analysts that the consensus was 422. FactSet came in at 432,000. However you view this, whether largely in line, slightly below, slightly above, here were the numbers in the first quarter, coming in at just over 422,000 vehicles, up 4% sequentially compared to the fourth quarter, up 36% compared to the first quarter of 2022. There's no doubt that the price cuts in China, as well as here in the U.S. during the first quarter, certainly impacted deliveries. It stoked the market, which is what Tesla was looking for, though Elon Musk himself has talked about whether or not there's a whole lot.
I actually forgot about that. I forgot they cut prices aggressively, and that probably led to Q1 deliveries being able to beat. I literally forgot that was one of the main things and main catalysts. So look at this delivery chart. 2012, they delivered 2,650 vehicles. 2022, 1.3 million. Like the amount of work that had to happen over those 10 years to really get that delivery up was just, it's amazing.
A lot of price elasticity there in terms of its whether or not you can juice the market. The Q1 production came in at 440,000 vehicles. The focus now, Dan Ives at Wedbush summed it up perfectly over the weekend, saying the big question will be margins, as cutting prices will have an impact on this front, although we believe automotive Gross margins north of 20% remains the key threshold over the coming quarters. We'll find out if they hit that threshold. By the way, the consensus is for automotive gross margins, excluding the zero emission credits. That's important. Coming in at 20.5%. We get those numbers April 19th after the bell. I don't think we're going to see a ton of reaction on Tesla shares today, guys. These numbers generally in line with expectations. Certainly after the price cuts stoked the market, people expected them to be up around that 420 to 430 range.
Yeah, so they came in line with expectations. So that's largely why they're probably not going to be anything crazy from a stock price perspective. They did what they needed to do. They beat slightly, and as a result of that, they made it. The stock price is not trading super high on this. Someone said, imagine 2030 deliveries. That's going to be crazy, bro. If Tesla can just keep doing what it does, imagine 2030. Well, I know Farzad, who's big in the Tesla community, says they're going to get to 20 million deliveries by 2030. They did 1 million last year. So in 8 years, they would have to 20x that to 20 million. Look, I don't know if he's right about that. I mean, maybe he's laid out a math case and also a like kind of heart case, right? Thinking with your heart, not your head case. What's his name? Dan Black? Was it Gary Black? Thinks that even 10 million is going to be very hard. So 20 million is probably not happening. I guess we'll see, right? Regardless if it's 10 million or 20 million, the stock price should go up at least, 200, 300, 400% by 2030. I would imagine that happens. Especially when the market, like, I think there's definitely going to be a moment from 2022 to 2030 where we have another irrational market where prices just go crazy. And that will probably be a combination of interest rates being low and maybe some geopolitical events. But like 2020, as much of an anomaly as it was, the COVID kind of surge and quantitative easing and all this stuff, that has happened before in the past. It just didn't happen to the level at which it happened in 2020, where, NEO goes from $3 to $60 in like 2 months, right? But I definitely think, just the way the economy works, that will happen again. It's just going to take a while to get there because we got to get interest rates to zero. And that might not happen for like another 3-4 years, to be honest. It's gonna be probably hard to get that there. But eventually, if the market goes crazy as well, there's no reason why Tesla can't go absolutely bonkers, why Palantir can't go bonkers, why a lot of companies just can't overperform, even if the financial metrics are crazy. Also, not even taking into account AI and the deflationary effects that's going to have. So companies in that sector, which I think Tesla and Palantir are very well positioned in the general AI sector, that's a wild card that I think a lot of us aren't thinking about. And when it does happen, it's going to be really interesting to see how it plays out. Meta at 210 right now. We can talk about it tonight on Finance Junkies. Okay, sounds good. Most people do not take into account the energy of I agree. This is why I turned very bullish on Tesla over the past couple months. Most people just simply do not take into account the energy business that Tesla's having. And the master plan part 3 day, as boring as it was, it really did highlight what they're planning to do with energy, which is going to be really exciting for them to be able to do. The world will be quite different by 2030. Not many people understand how hard the system is to working out to phase out ownership. The question is, will Tesla win government contracts to supply urban fleets of self-driving cars? Yeah, I think those are the two big questions. Will Tesla have FSD done by 2030? Which I still think is not ridiculous to ask that question, because Elon promised it back in 2014 and it's been almost 10 years, right? I don't think it's crazy. That's a very complicated problem. It's getting better. I personally don't think it's going to happen in the next 2 years. I think if it were going to happen, the earliest is 2027, 2030-ish, around that time. That's the question. And then these fleet of vehicles that are going to be doing all the driving, how involved is the government going to be in that? Because there's definitely going to be some level of governmental regulation on that aspect as well. And I think those are very important questions to be able to ask ourselves as we inch towards that reality. NASDAQ 12,189. Apple, look at that, blowing past 158-ish. Now it's at 165. Again, the more Apple moves up, the more the market has to move up. It's 7.5% of the S&P. So if the market wants to give Apple their $2.93 trillion market cap, then the market's probably going to give a premium to the overall indices that exists. What's Finance Junkies? Finance Junkies is a podcast that Chris, Vitaly, and Carlos and I do every day, 10 p.m. on my channel. It's actually, you guys seem to like it, man. Like 300 people showed. I hope you guys like my bit about the about the sponsorship. They were Chris was ready to quit his day job. Chris was literally ready to quit. Like as soon as I said, hey, I accepted the deal, Vitaly and Carlos were like, what? You accepted a deal on our behalf? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Chris was like, all right, how much was the deal? Because if the deal was good, I don't really care if you accepted it. I just want my paycheck. Chris was absolutely ready to quit his job. And then, then the cowbell ended up being the sponsor, which is not exactly the most profitable thing. It's not $25,000 a month as they thought. So it was good. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I have some other news that I want to get to real quick. This is in the tech world. And this is, let me actually show you guys this. It's in the startup world as well. Okay. Does everyone know what Substack is? I'm assuming you guys know what Substack is. Substack is creating a new economic engine for writers and journalists. And quite honestly, I think of Substack as like the hedge against the mainstream media kind of narrative around everything, whether it's COVID, pandemics, all this stuff. Substack is a platform that journalists can independently write work and then charge a subscription for it. Look at Substack. They are raising a community round. They have raised $7 million by 6,300 investors. If you guys recognize this website, it's because if you invested in Aldea, my startup, it's WeFunder. So WeFunder is one of the premier crowdsourcing platforms. They take a 7.5% fee, which is the lowest in any platform, which is why I use them in the first place. And Substack is raising $7 million on a $585 million pre-money valuation. So Substack got an investment from Andreessen Horowitz. I think they raised like $60 million back in the summer at around a $650 million post-money valuation. So the whole point of WeFunder is to let the community invest, right? So if you're a Substack and a writer and you really like the platform and you want to invest in the platform because one day you think the platform will go public or will be worth a lot more than $585 million, you can put in at least $100, right? So they raised about $7 million from just the public. And Anthony Pompliano, for those that don't know, crypto, Bitcoin guy, big into investing, etc. He is leading this funding round. Him and his wife, both use Substack. Some of the most active writers there, they're leading this round. So Substack has more than 35 million active subscriptions, including 2 million paid subscriptions. The Substack network now drives 40% of all subscriptions and 15% of paid subscriptions. What that means is that it's a recommendation engine at scale, which means if you start a Substack and you get recommended on Substack against someone else's Substack, you have a chance to drive subscription and subscription revenue from Substack, which makes Substack kind of like the YouTube of newsletters if people are discovering newsletters from Substack itself, meaning it's not just the Patreon, not just the the payment processor, the middleman. It's now the ability to get discovered for your writing. It's a really, really interesting platform. Cumulatively, readers have paid writers more than $300 million through Substack. And so think of it as Patreon for newsletters, essentially. And writers get 86% of the money from Substack, which is pretty interesting. And I think that's why they've been able to raise the $7 million round. And Substack takes 10%. And there's about payment fees of 4%. So to get 86% of the money, that's not an easy thing to do. I mean, YouTube, they give you 55% of the ad revenue, right? 86% of the money is hard. I think the biggest thing about Substack, as you see here, 2017 founded, 2018 graduated from Y Combinator, raised $2 million. 2019 raised a $15 million Series A. 2020 hit 100,000 paid subscriptions. 2021 hit 1 million paid subscriptions, raised a 65 million Series B. 2022, they added recommendations, podcasts, videos, etc. I think the biggest thing for them is they created a model where it's cool to pay for news, because all of us, or at least most of us, just hate paying for news, right? We hate paying for the New York Times subscription, blah, blah, blah. But if you find someone you really love on Substack, just like Patreon, you're willing to give them $5, $6, $7, $10 a month because you want to not only support their work, you feel good in giving this independent person money to do the research and the work that you want them to do, right? And so that's why I think it's really cool that Substack was able to actually raise this. And it makes a lot of sense as well. So, okay, that's it for me, everybody. I'm going to be leaving now. I have all my taxes to finish. So today I have to send my accountant all my taxes. Let me know if you guys still have not done your taxes. It's April 18th. You got to do it, or else Uncle Sam's going to decide to come take you into jail. So I'm going to be spending the next couple hours finishing up my taxes. And that's pretty much it. Have some clips coming out today from SoFi Palantir Weekly Podcast. Finance Junkies again at 10 p.m. tonight. And yeah, that's pretty much it for me. We'll talk about SLG today. We'll talk about the OPEC cuts. We'll talk about a bunch of stuff. keep doing more. Lindsay still needs to do mine. Yep. Got to do them. I'm pretty much done, but I got to start, I got to find some more expenses that I can tell my accountant to take off, because I know I have them. I just got to find them. And that's pretty much it. All right, everybody. Thank you. Also, make sure dailypalantir.com. We're getting a lot more active. Please make sure I'm put the link in the description to subscribe. This is my own newsletter, and it's literally free. dailypalantir.com/subscribe. My camera just died. Please make sure to check it out. And let me add the HTTPS if that didn't go in. HTTPS dailypalantir.com/subscribe. I am pumping out the articles at a new level now. So make sure you subscribe. Newsletter every day around 5 p.m., 6 p.m. Again, it's totally free. You get a bunch of news every single day on what's going on in Palantir, and you support the newsletter. We're at like 1,500 subscribers. I want to get to 2,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if we can get to 2,000 subs, that'd be awesome. Again, it's totally free. Thank you all. I will see you guys tonight, 10 p.m. Don't forget, Finance Junkies. We will be here. Good night, everybody. Have a great day.